A lot of players expressed their discontent, I would say. Frustration in the referees this season. There was Kendrick Nunn saying that despite a 20-point win, the referees are terrible. Somebody's got to hold them responsible for the way they officiate the game. If nobody's going to say it, the players have to. They can take whatever they want from it. Referees have to do a much better job officiating the game, calling both ways. And I stress calling both ways.
Yeah.
And Chima Moneke also was on Twitter. He wrote, also something needs to be done about these refs, please.
And he said that after a win.
After a win. And he said it after a win where Wade Baldwin, after the whistle, after the final buzzer sounded, he threw the ball towards the side of the referee. I'm happy he did not throw it straight to the referee's face. And then he came really close, you know, basically to the referee's face and said probably not a lot of good things. So do you really agree with not what Wade Baldwin done, because that was, I think, absolutely unnecessary and he needs to be punished for that. But do you think that the referees are, you know, doing a bad job this season, and how much is it, let's say, worsening your EuroLeague watching experience?
Well, first of all, like, even if they have a bad performance officiating, you should not assault a referee. Like, at the end of the day, it's a human being trying to do his job.
That was bad.
You're a human being trying to do your job. I get the emotions, the frustration and all, but I don't think you should react in that manner, especially after that last play where there was actually no foul. He just lost the ball. But I get it that probably his reaction was not because of this last play.
For sure.
It's because of what happened during the 40 minutes. Now, to answer your question, does it bother me, and how much does it disturb me while I'm watching the games? I'm going to say that I'm more disappointed with the actual rules that we have than the quality of refereeing.
Okay.
Although I agree that this season there's not much consistency with the refs, and when there's one player complaining, okay, you say that maybe that's just his character. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players on Twitter talking about refs, probably there is a problem, and it has to be addressed.
We remember Mike James was on Twitter as well after the Panathinaikos game.
Yeah. So we're not saying that the refs are favoring some teams, but in general, probably, and there's not enough consistency. And this season, it's kind of frustrating. But I'm actually disappointed with our rules. First of all these video reviews. There are so many unnecessary video reviews. We have to do something about it.
The games are so long. It's...
Yeah. Like, you added an extra coaches challenge, and now the refs sometimes, when they have doubts, instead of actually going to the monitor, they ask the coach, do you want to challenge this? The coach then decides he does. It's a really long process. And if I'm watching that game, I mean, it just forces me to do some other stuff. I pick up my phone, I start scrolling, I lose my attention. And sometimes these video reviews are pretty unnecessary, I would say. Like, they spend 3 or 4 minutes to check whether they should add 1 more second on the clock in the middle of the first quarter. So that's one thing.
Those are the worst.
Yeah,
man.
those are the worst.
And
we've talked about the conversations that we hear at the time when they're asking for the master camera, give me the control. Man, something has to be done about this. Also, some of our rules, like, first of all, I don't like what an unsportsmanlike foul is according to the European rules. I think that in the NBA, it's much better with the flagrant fouls and the clear path fouls. There's an obvious criteria what is a clear path foul, and the flagrant foul is actual unnecessary physical contact or something like you do on purpose to hurt the opposing player. A tough foul shouldn't be an unsportsmanlike foul. Like, someone just not going for the ball but fouling someone under the rim shouldn't be an unsportsmanlike foul, in my opinion.
You want this to be more like in an NBA, where you can make a hard foul.
And the other thing is, and I would call it a circus, the way they award free throws. Like,
I agree. I completely agree.
Like, Wade Baldwin's example is a good one from the Baskonia game. He was awarded free throws because the refs went to the screen, they looked at it, and they said, well, there's an attempt to shoot. Well, I don't care. What is an attempt to shoot? You're either shooting or not. So there is no actual shot. There is an attempt to shoot. So allow these refs to use some common sense. Not only the rule book, but also the common sense. Is the player actually shooting from that position, taking into account all the circumstances, the shot clock, the result, the game clock, or is he just fishing for cheap free throws?
Wade Baldwin was doing a 1-2 step into a shooting motion is really a strong statement. That was like
he knows the foul. He knows the foul is coming, so he might pretend that he's attempting to shoot the ball, and then he's getting free throws. And
it's not only him.
It's not like I'm not talking about one player doing this. It's everyone is doing it. Like, you can use the rules in your favor. Go ahead, you're doing it. Like James Harden was doing something similar in the NBA, and they changed the rules. They actually started changing the rules because of these things, because players are fishing for free throws. So the rule book is fine, but you also need some common sense. So stop awarding these silly free throws. And it's not only on 3-point shots. Sometimes you see these situations with someone driving to the rim. He's in the air, and he's obviously looking to pass the ball. But since there's contact, he gets his arms up, and then the refs decide that that's an attempt to shoot the ball to the basket. So I don't like these rules. I think they need to be changed. I think that would improve our game, and also do something about these video reviews, because technology is good when you use it properly. But sometimes when you misuse technology, it actually, I'm not going to say kills the game. It's too strong of a word, but it kind of bothers me and bothers all the other people watching those games, because now a EuroLeague broadcast where we play 4 quarters of 10 minutes somehow is 2.5 hours.
Yep. I think that's a big problem. The games are okay. The length is not the problem if you are playing the actual game, because it's interesting. The problem is those stops that you mentioned, and in my eyes, it actually the refereeing is somehow way more terrible than last year. We did not talk about the referees that much. Okay, the fans are always going whenever Panathinaikos lose, or Olympiacos lose, Fenerbahce. It doesn't really matter. All the teams, the fans of all the teams, there's a group of these fans that do it. They say, "Oh, but have you seen the refs?" It was probably not the refs, but the refereeing both ways, the inconsistency, the amount of how much people talk about the refs, as we speak after the games, is just, I think it's too much, and I think it is a direct result of them not being consistent enough. I don't know whether that's video, more challenges. They're less decisive in their calls or whatever that is. But I hope they really get better, let's say, for the second part of the season.